I want you to watch number 75, the right tackle, right here. And this is so important because as an offensive lineman, you are taught never give up your inside. Because the quickest way to the quarterback as a defender and a pass rusher is through the inside. Because instead of having to go around, you can just go straight through. Now watch number 75 right here. First of all, he's incredibly slow off the line, and he immediately gets off balance. Like, he has a really bad base, and he allows the pass rusher to get right through. Sack Joe Burrow.
He's the quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's the only QB in the NFL to go 3-1 against Patrick Mahomes. And his good numbers don't stop just there. In just 4 seasons, he's amassed 14,000 passing yards, 97 passing touchdowns, and only 37 interceptions, despite spending a significant amount of time on the injury reserve list. In just his second year as a starter, he took the historically poverty-stricken and inept Cincinnati Bengals to the Super Bowl, their third one ever. Sadly for the Bengals, third time would not be the charm because they have a real problem. And in that game, the symptoms manifested as Joe Burrow getting sacked 7 times, the second most times in a game that season. So here today to diagnose the problem is Dr. Preston Rowe. Doctor, please save Joe Burrow.
This is Dr. Preston Rowe here, and I'm about to tell you why the Cincinnati Bengals hate Joe Burrow with the hashtag copious notes to prove it. So let's jump right into it, shall we? First of all, last year in 2023, the Cincinnati Bengals had 615 total dropbacks, and they allowed 50 sacks, which is tied for 7th most with the Chicago Bears. That means 25 NFL teams gave up less sacks than the Cincinnati Bengals. So you're already off to a really bad start on that front. Next, this is just fucking damning. This is horrible. The 5 starters on the offensive line, the 5 Cincinnati Bengals starters, gave up 27 of those sacks and 177 pressures. That is a 28.7 pressure allowed rate by the starters. You know it's bad when your backups give up less sacks overall than your starters do. That's horrible. It's fucking atrocious. That's why they're called the Bengals. They were ranked the 26th offensive line according to Pro Football Focus. And it's really, really bad when you also take into account that they were scored the least athletic offensive line in the league. Out of all 32 teams, the Bengals were graded the least athletic offensive line as a whole. And their 2 starting tackles, right tackle Jonah Williams and left tackle Orlando Brown, gave up 23 of those 27 sacks. So while you might be thinking, yeah, RT and LT, right tackle, left tackle, the Bengals think of them as right turnstile and left turnstile. That's how fucking bad they are. And to make matters worse, these are positions that they've invested in. They've tried to improve their offensive line. They've just failed miserably at it. And they're still not productive. They've invested in these guys, and they're still not producing. The Bengals starting guard, Cordell Volson, was graded the 5th worst guard out of 83 guards in the league, 83 starting guards. He was graded the 5th worst starting guard at pass blocking win rate with a 28.7% win rate. A 28.7 win rate. And that's still not as bad as their left and right tackle. If you do the math, 615 dropbacks and you give up 50 sacks, that is more than 15%. So out of 615 dropbacks, they gave up 50 sacks. that means that more than 15% of their dropbacks resulted in a sack. You might be thinking, oh, that's not that bad. But then, to add context to this, let's take a look at one of the best offensive lines in football, who had 4 of their 5 starters were all pros or all pro alternates. And I'm talking about the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions allowed 31 sacks on 646 dropbacks. And that is a 4.8% sack per dropback rate, as opposed to over 15%. That's pretty fucking atrocious. That's really bad. So now let's dive even deeper. Joe Burrow has been sacked 148 times in his regular season career, but he's only played 52 games. That is 2.8 sacks per game on average. And he's also missed 12 games because he's been injured, because the Cincinnati Bengals want him to be the next Andrew Luck and just absolutely refuse to protect this man. This is even more damning. This shit blew my mind. Joe Burrow has played in 7 career playoff games and has been sacked 29 times in 7 playoff games. That is 4.1 sacks a game. That's over 4 sacks a game. I mean, Jesus Christ, what are we doing here, guys? The Cincinnati Bengals, y'all need to get your shit together, stop being turnstiles, and protect your franchise quarterback.
It's about time I manifest my manifesto. Next row, get your pencil, you can capture the quotes. The shit's harder than anything y'all wrote.
I just want to point this out. This basically sums up the Bengals offensive line. You have 4 defenders in the backfield on Joe Burrow. And all 5 offensive linemen are not only standing around, but they are facing Joe Burrow. As an offensive lineman, you never want to face the quarterback.
Stand up, everyone. No, he's looking at the quarterback. Like, Browning! Jake, he's coming! Jake! Jake, get out of the way! Jake! Jake, he's coming! Jake! Oh, he didn't get you. Thank God. Oh, T. Higgins, thank God. Gosh, what are we doing? There's no one for me to hit. Jake!